Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to our program tonight. So the Chamber is proud to host tonight's program, the 2025 Mayoral Candidates Forum, and before that, a Council Candidate Introduction session. The Chamber does this as part of its longstanding commitment to civic engagement and informed public dialogue. Our goal this evening is to give you, the voters, an opportunity to hear directly from those who seek to serve as the next mayor of Lethbridge or as council candidates. And indeed, to find out a little bit more about the candidates running to be elected to our 8 council seats, because there's a lot of candidates for that. So it's a lot of information to keep track of. The Chamber's role here is strictly nonpartisan. It does not endorse any candidate or any campaign. Rather, this forum is about promoting open discussion and helping our community make thoughtful, informed decisions at the ballot box. So as Cindy said, my name is Stephen Mogden, and it's my pleasure to serve as your moderator this evening. In my day job, I'm a lawyer with Stringham Law here in Lethbridge. Over the years, though, I've had a chance to moonlight as a moderator for these debates, probably 12.5 times or something like that to date, and I've even participated in a few myself. So I'm delighted to help guide tonight's conversation. I think it's actually in my job description as a past president of the Lethbridge Chamber, but in any case, I'm happy to do it. So I will get us into our council candidates at this point. So as was mentioned previously, we'll go through all of the council candidates in alphabetical order by surname. They will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and their platform to you. They'll do that right here. Unfortunately, time doesn't permit us to do a question and answer for this, but they're here to tell you who they are, why they're running, and why you should vote for them. So without further ado for that, we will get into our council candidates. First up, by last name, alphabetically, is Katie Aurora. Do we have Katie? Coming on out. It's tough to see with the lights. Come on.
Greetings, Lethbridge. I am Katie Aurora. I've been talking with people all over Lethbridge, and everywhere I go, I hear the same things. I hear that our city has become unaffordable. I hear that traffic is terrible. I hear that our local communities are struggling, and I hear that we pay too much taxes while the rich pay too little. Fortunately for us, there are solutions to these problems. I'm running on a platform of tested and proven policies that will empower us to solve the housing crisis, embrace transportation freedom, support community sustainability, and tax the rich. We can address the real structural problems making life unaffordable by building middle density and mixed use neighborhoods. We can invest in our transit infrastructure to ensure that everyone has safe, reliable, and convenient alternatives to driving. We can create real space for communities to thrive while supporting our local businesses. And most importantly, we can do all this while lowering municipal taxes on students, renters, workers, middle-income families, and small businesses by replacing our current system of property taxes with a land value tax. I would love to go into more detail about my platform. Unfortunately, city council candidates are being excluded from participating in this forum. If you would like to learn more, I would encourage you to meet up with me after the event or to go to my website at katie.ca. That is KAITTE.ca. You'll find my full platform, a voter question and answer section, contact information, and more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you for your 2 minutes to address the crowd in this forum. That takes us to Kelty Baird. Kelty, come on out.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us all here tonight. My name is Kelty Baird, and I'm running for a city council seat here in Lethbridge. Some of you may know me from Theoretically Brewing Company, which I had the pleasure of co-founding and co-owning and still do. If you haven't been to the brewery yet, I encourage you to stop by, of course. Shameless plug. My platform is pretty simple. Lots of affordability issues in the city right now. There's an issue with people not being able to afford to buy homes. There's not enough childcare. Transportation has become an issue as well. So my goals are pretty simple, is to have practical policy to lead us into the future that will help with the cost of living in practical ways and not just focus on weird, vague notions of having accountability and transparency. I believe that Lethbridge has a chance to move forward and is on the cusp of becoming a much larger city with lots of people that need to move here and lots of services that need to be provided. I look forward to the opportunity to serve you as a city council member if you so choose to elect me. The ticking clock is really intimidating, just so you know. I've got about a minute left, so just to tell you a little bit more about myself. It did come up in the foyer. I gave birth to my first daughter 7 weeks ago. Thank you. And it did come up. How do I plan on juggling home life and being a new parent and being on city council and being a small business owner? And the fact is, I've got a really great network of support in the city, and my husband is enjoying a wonderful paternity leave. So thank goodness for that. He's at home with the baby tonight. Then I also hope to bring a new perspective to City Council, and that is the perspective of young parents and a younger generation. We do tend to elect an older generation to our City Council. And thank you so much to them for all of their service. I look forward to the possibility of working with some of them. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thanks, Kelty. Great stuff. Congratulations on the growing family. That'll take us to our third candidate of the evening. That is Al Bieber. Al, come on out.
Hi there, I'm Al Bieber. I'm sure a bunch of you know who I am and what I've been doing for the last several decades, covering City Hall, covering the community issues. And that's one reason I'm running for council, because I know the city well. I've covered the community. I'm a person who knows City Hall, who has shown leadership and the ability to build relationships through my work. As a council, I feel our priorities need to be attracting new residents, business, and industry. Been working with administration, economic development in Lethbridge, and this organization, the Chamber of Commerce, to develop strategies to increase the residential, commercial, and industrial tax bases so we have more revenues to pay for essential services, community services, and provide some relief to the existing taxpayers. And by increasing business, we keep the brilliant minds that are graduating from the Polytechnic and the university here to raise their families and contribute to this great community. You know, businesses have told me they want Lethbridge to make its business tax rate the most competitive in southern Alberta. And they want predictable property taxes and utility rates so they can plan for the futures of their businesses, including creating businesses and hopefully making profit in the long term while creating jobs here. We need to work on building a better transit system, which I'm hearing loudly and clearly is not working for many of the needs of our users. We need to spend judiciously and use the MRSR only on matters that are essential to keep our city services operating. I also believe we need to support our fire and EMS with their efforts to increase response times, to meet national standards, because quicker response times are going to save lives. And that could be your family members, it could be mine. And of course, we need to support our police service in their efforts to combat the increasingly sophistication of crime. I also fully support the creation of a award system to diversify the voices in civic government, which we need to keep free of partisan politics, because local issues need local decision-making that are not beholden to any party ideology or political party, whether it's based here or in Lethbridge. You know, this is a premium city in which to live, and part of it is our arts community, which I support wholeheartedly. I've been covering arts for decades, and I know how important arts are to the cultural fabric of our community. Arts can attract tourism, they can attract business, and they can keep our young minds stimulated. So on that note, thank you for your time, and I hope you all vote on October 20th or before.
Thanks very much, Al Bieber. 3 guesses on what Al's next column is going to be about. The first 2 don't count. All right, just as a quirk of the alphabetical order, we're going to have 3 incumbent councillors come up, starting with Mark Campbell. Mark, come on up.
Stop. Sit down, please. Good evening, and thanks to the Chamber for bringing all of us here tonight. I really appreciate it. For those of you who don't know me, I am Mark Campbell. I was born and raised in Lethbridge. My mom was a dedicated nurse and spent her 40-year career at St. Mike's in the operating room where she was supervisor there. My dad worked at McGavin's Toastmasters, delivering in the country for 40 years all over southern Alberta. We used to affectionately call him the breadwinner. I graduated, thank you, McGavin's fan there, thank you. I graduated from Catholic Central High School, went to what was then the LCC, the place to be, which is now, of course, the Lethbridge Polytechnic. I took radio arts, and it was there that helped me get my very first job in radio at 1090 Czech, 1974. Later did TV weather on Global Television, did a show called Seen and Heard, where I learned so much about the people of this town and how wonderful of a place Lethbridge is. And it was a career that lasted actually 40 years as well. And I may have sung happy birthday to a few of you over the years. I mention that because it demonstrates, in my mind, that I do have a deep commitment to this city. And it's that commitment that I bring to the role of city councillor, along with a genuine desire to make Lethbridge stronger and more prosperous. And as I speak here to this Chamber of Commerce, I believe that a thriving business community is the foundation of a strong city. I support policies that encourage investment, cut unnecessary red tape, and create a fair, predictable environment where local businesses can grow and succeed. Small and medium enterprises are the backbone of Lethbridge, providing jobs, innovation, and local character. And we as council, and we're a team, must ensure that City Hall is a partner and not a hurdle. Taxpayers expect value for their dollars, and we must support smart, efficient spending, maintain essential services, and prioritize projects that deliver long-term benefits to residents and businesses alike. A great city is more than just numbers. It's about people. I have always been an advocate for collaboration, inclusion, and community building. When we bring business, education, and civic leadership together, we can create sustainability and look forward to a Lethbridge that attracts investment, retains talent, and builds pride in our city's future. For more information on what I stand for, you can go to voteformarkcampbell.ca. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate your support.
All right, thanks very much, Mark Campbell. Cindy, can I get one of those hook things? Okay, our next council candidate is also a returning member of council. Belinda, don't call me Brenda Crosen. Come on out.
Hopefully lowering the mic is not part of my 2 minutes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Belinda Crosen, running for re-election for Lethbridge City Council. Tonight, you have 22 people standing in front of you, 4 running as mayor, 18 running for council, all with different ideas, backgrounds, and promises. And from us, you must choose who you believe will be the best to run the city for the next 4 years. So who am I? I have served this community in many different ways in the years that I've been here. I am your local historian, doing tours, writing books, and researching the history of this community. I have served on the Lethbridge Historical Society and other numerous boards, both provincially and locally. However, whomever you elect also has to gel quickly together as a team. So you are also looking for people who have the skills to work together and who can be good members of a council. What skills make a good counselor? What do we need to have to govern, to advocate on your behalf, to communicate with you, the public, and to be good stewards? I love policy and governance. That is something I could do all day long. In fact, I prepped 4 hours yesterday for this forum, not knowing we weren't going to get questions and answers for our councillors. So maybe I should share this with the mayoral candidates, all my notes. When people talk to me, I'm listening not only for what they say, but for what the real underlying needs are. If you've been listening to all of our campaigns, you have probably heard accountability and transparency more than you can imagine. We should almost make it a drinking game every time we say one of those words. But what do we mean by accountability and transparency? In the last term of council, I was able to bring forward the asset management plan and policy, which council passed unanimously, which will put an emphasis on maintaining what we already have in the city instead of building new and spending money on new. One of the first things I would like to do, if you are kind enough to re-elect me, is work on a service level policy. Service levels are the promise we make to you. When we sign contracts with fee-for-service agreements, we make them write out what they're going to do and how much each service is going to cost. We don't have that for our own departments. We need to create that so you know what we are providing at what cost, and then we can have conversations about whether you want to increase service for more money or decrease service and know what you're losing. When people talk about accountability, I'm thinking about wards. Now, I'm not going to promise you we're going to bring in a ward system. As I fought for last time and sadly lost on, we need to review a ward system. We need to be able to tell you how much it would cost, how it would work, and then decide whether or not you really completely want a ward system. But I am determined to bring that forward. So many other things. Sorry, retired teacher, I get bossy once in a while. You won't get jargon, you won't get slogans from me, you will never get pandering. You'll get policy and governance discussions, and if re-elected, you will get the hardest work I can do on your behalf for Lethbridge. Thank you.
You also get a little bit of extra time. All right. Our next council candidate is Rayco Dodic. Come on out, Rayco. We'll give you a couple extra seconds on the clock.
Ooh. Sorry, my name is Mark Campbell. Okay, it's not. I am Rayco Dodic. I emigrated with my parents from the former Yugoslavia in 1957 and have been here ever since. While growing up, my parents' constant mantra was to get an education. I became a lawyer, and my sister, a chartered accountant, which was a disappointment to my parents. Come on, that was a good laugh. Come on. Yeah, thank you. I've been a lawyer for over 40 years, with the last dozen or so on a part-time basis. Currently, I am associated with the oldest law firm in the city, Davidson & Williams. In fact, Charlene Scheffelmeyer just ferried my briefcase over to the other side. She's also there. I received a Queen's Counsel designation in 2013. I appeared in every court in the land, including the Supreme Court of Canada. I am currently on the Alberta Cancer Foundation, which is an unpaid position. I'm also on the cardiac cabinet, which is trying to get a catheterization center in Lethbridge, also an unpaid position. I was on council from 2004 until 2013, with the last 3 years as mayor. I didn't seek re-election because I was about to become a grandparent and felt that it was going to be more fun than continuing on council. And I was right. I came back 8 years later, got elected in 2021. But in 2 minutes, I really can't tell you much about what my policies are going forward and things like that. You can always go back over the 4 years, look at the council meetings and see that I debate very vigorously. But one thing I do want to mention, and there's been a lot of talk about the third level bridge, a third bridge. One of the first things I did when I got reelected in 2021 was ask the city administration to come up with a cost for the bridge. And there was a big estimate between $200 million and $300 million. And then I asked, bearing in mind that the province has told us they're not contributing to a local project 1 iota of a cent, and we've been hearing that for 20 years. So the cost to the citizens for that bridge, if it were to be built on city funds alone, would be between 14.5% and 22.1% increase on your taxes above and beyond whatever tax increases you already have. And the reason I bring that up is because I want to make it clear the province has said they're not paying, and the tax consequences would be just way too onerous for the citizens of Lethbridge. I'm sure, I hope you would agree with me on that point. So, I thought not raising taxes by 14.5 to 22 would be good enough. So the bottom line is, I don't promise anything. All I do, and it's enough, is that I read the material, I ask the tough questions, cross-examine when I have to, and make the best decision based on the facts available. But also making sure I never break the bank once the decision's made. So vote for me. A? Thanks. Oh, thanks.
All right, yeah, I wear many hats tonight. All right, that takes us to our next candidate is Rufa Doria. Rufa, come on up.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Rufa Doria. I'm running for City Council because I can bring the right skill set and leadership that can make responsible decisions for this city. I still remember moving to Lethbridge 15 years ago, fresh from graduating from my PhD at McGill University and starting my job at Research Center. And very quickly, Lethbridge felt like home. Over the years, I've seen many changes in the city. But what I appreciated most is how Lethbridge kept its charm. That's exactly what I hope to achieve. I want to help Lethbridge grow and reach its potential while preserving the character and charm that makes this place so special. I am an agricultural engineer, a business leader, and a community advocate. I've spent years working with local organizations, engaging with the community, and also attending Chamber of Commerce events like this, especially after my business won the Chinook Entrepreneur Challenge in 2018. So for my priorities this election, I want you to think of the ABCs. A, for affordability. B, business and economy. C, for community. If elected, I will advocate for affordable living through responsible budgeting and programs that keeps living costs manageable. I hope to also promote our business community and make our economy resilient. I want to honor our agricultural roots and help make sure that it's also the driving force for our future growth. Last but not least, I'll champion safe neighborhoods through prevention programs and partnerships that keeps our city secure. Please vote Rufa Doria, and with your support, we can build a Lethbridge that honors its past, celebrates the present, and builds a bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rufa Doria. Our next council candidate is Robin James. Robin, come on up.
The mic goes up, the mic goes down. That's going to be the story of the evening. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here with so many business and community leaders who drive our city forward every day. My name is Robin James, and I'm running for council. This is my first crack at council, so here we go. Over the past 2 decades, I've worked the front lines in community development. As the Chief Administrative Officer of the Lethbridge Housing, managing housing, homelessness supports, and partnerships strengthening both people and our local economy. I've seen firsthand how collaboration between government, business, and community organization creates lasting change. Our city is at a crossroads. Housing affordability, workforce retention, and access to health care are not just social issues, they're economic ones. When workers can't find housing or services, businesses can't grow. That's why my platform is built on practical, experienced leadership, focusing on removing barriers to growth and ensuring prosperity reaches every corner of our community. I believe in smart investment, supporting small business innovation, building infrastructure that attracts new employers, and ensuring our local economy remains resilient while we face national and global challenges. Most importantly, I believe in partnerships. Government can't solve challenges alone, but together with you, we can build a stronger, more vibrant city that works for everyone. It's time for leadership that listens, acts, and delivers on real results. Together, we can make Lethbridge a model of practical progress and shared success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin, James, and also for observing our time limit. Keep that in mind when you vote. All right, that will take us to our next candidate is Tevi Legg. Tevi, come on out.
Down we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to come out tonight. My name is Tevi Legg, and I am running for a Lethbridge City Councillor position. I wrote a little letter to my fellow Lethbridge residents. Dear Lethbridge neighbors, Lethbridge is home. It's where we raise our kids, cheer at the rinks. There's lots of cheering at the rinks in our family. Walk the river valley and show up for one another when it matters most. That sense of community is what makes this city special, and it's what has inspired me to run for Lethbridge City Council. I'm running because I believe our city deserves leadership that listens, includes, and genuinely cares about people who live here. We're all feeling the pressures of higher costs, limited opportunities, and decisions that sometimes don't reflect what's happening on the ground. And I can say I am personally feeling the pressures of the teachers' strike right now as I have my 3 sons at home, homeschooling. I'm not sure what that looks like for everybody else. As a councillor, my priority will be to strengthen the community well-being by supporting safe, connected spaces for gathering, ensuring affordability and accountability in how our city spends and plans for growth, supporting local businesses and families so more people can thrive right here in Lethbridge, building and collaborating on trust between council and residents through open, honest communication. This is about people. It's about making sure the voices of Lethbridge are heard and respected at every decision table. I'm asking for your support and your vote in the upcoming Lethbridge election on October 20th, or as you may already be aware, advanced polls that will be open again tomorrow, going through till Friday. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas, and your hopes for Lethbridge. You can reach me anytime at tevileg.com or via my social media handles. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Tevi Legg. Our next candidate is Margaret or Maggie Matulich. Did I get that close? Good. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Margaret Matulich. Please feel free to call me Maggie. And I am a woman on a mission. I'm asking and inviting you on that mission. I am not here to support the old. I am here to boldly build the new. We are in the midst of a breakdown. You all feel it. You are all living it. And it is leading us directly to a breakthrough. The next 4 years are going to be extraordinarily challenging. Sweeping changes are here. They are on your doorstep. And I am a leader who can navigate us successfully through it. I have clarity. I have calm. I have confidence. And most of all, I have common sense. A return to reason is arising. I am not interested in ideologies. I am interested in impact, and I am championing this community and our citizens, period. Please don't think left or right, think center. In terms of my background, I am a healthcare professional by training, and I came down from Calgary about 4 years ago, and Lethbridge is my home and my haven. If you'd for more information, please see my website, bridgebuilder2025.com. I am looking for trust in government, truth and transparency, technology, and last but not least, town halls. No hiding behind computers. Thank you so kindly, and thank you kindly to the Chamber. Good evening.
Thank you, Maggie Matulich. All right, that will take us to our next council candidate, a sitting councillor, John Middleton Hope. Come on out, John.
Age. Glasses on to see, glasses off to read. I'm John Middleton Hope, and I'm running for re-election to Lethbridge City Council. For some of you, you'll know that I spent more than 35 years in policing and was the chief of police here in Lethbridge. I also taught university as an instructor for more than 30 years, and I was an international consultant with the United Nations in Eastern Europe. I remain committed to building a safer, stronger, and more accountable Lethbridge. With progress made in these key areas during the past 4 years, while on council, I'm seeking a renewed mandate to continue advancing my 3 priorities of community safety, measured growth, and accountable and transparent governance. I bring decades of leadership experience in public safety, emergency management, and municipal governance to work every day as an advocate for the citizens of this city. My decisions are grounded in evidence, compassion, and a deep commitment to community collaboration. In this election, experience matters. Listening to what is important to our citizens is paramount, and making the tough decisions that need to be made to provide for a safe community, a community where growth is managed effectively, and where your leaders are accountable to you, the electorate. This counts for something. In this next term, we have more tough decisions to make no illusions about it. Trying to balance the needs and the wants of our citizens with what we can really truly afford. Much like your households and your businesses, we must continue to make tough choices that are not always popular. But this is what our citizens have asked us to do, and I have never shied away from my responsibility to put you first and make those decisions that benefit the majority of us day in and day out. We have serious issues to manage, and it takes serious people to develop these solutions. I encourage you to vote. I encourage you to come out tomorrow to LSCO if you haven't had an opportunity to speak to all of my colleagues that are running, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John Middleton Hope. That takes us to our next council candidate, a current sitting councillor, Ryan Parker. Ryan, come on out.
Good evening. I get really nervous when I do this still. I do get really nervous. I'm kind of sweating here. So I had a speech, and I was listening to everyone. I was like, I'll put the speech to the side. First of all, I'm Ryan Parker, running for Lethbridge City Council, and I'm an independent. It's sad that I have to use the term independent. I remember when I was first elected, you were elected based on your values, of how you were raised, your morals and your ethics. And it's sad that we have to come to a point possibly in the near future where you could have to declare your party affiliation, and that scares me. I was going to come up here and talk about all the great things happening in our community, that crime is down nearly 20% from year after year. But I want to talk to you about the biggest challenge facing communities right now, especially the city of Lethbridge. You know, we have close to 4,000 people in community growth on an annual basis, which is a good news story, but we have to make sure we have the adequate infrastructure in place. Some of you may say I've been on council too long, and that's fine, that's a fair statement, but I've learned a lot over the years. I've worked with David Carpenter, Chris Spearman, Dodic, Mayor Hagan, and Mayor Spearman. And I can tell you all the people that I've worked on City Council, including members of Council, have been there for noble reasons because they just want to make the best decisions on your behalf. But the biggest challenge facing Council is this thing right here in the community, is cell phones. And the reason why I'm saying that is most people don't even know there's an election coming up. I'm scared that voter turnout's going to be close to under 20%. We have to find better ways to communicate. We can't rely on cell phones. We can't rely on websites. We need to get back to the old school community hall kind of communications. So we can make a lot of the opinions I hear from you folks is based on misinformation. So we need to get back to giving you the facts so you can make your decisions based on facts. Too often in all areas of society, we make decisions on misinformation. So I think it's incumbent upon the new council, whoever's there, to make sure that you have the most accurate information so you can make an accurate opinion. That's all I'm asking, and I ask for your support once again. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much, Ryan Parker. That takes us next to Council candidate Tom Rollston. Tom, come on out.
Okie, and good evening. My name is Tom Rollston, and I'm running for Lethbridge City Councillor. I'm running for City Councillor because I love this city, and I know you do too. That's why you're here tonight, and that's why we, the candidates, are here tonight. So why vote for me, a former news anchor and journalist who's been an aspiring politician for all of 3.5 weeks? Well, because a vote for me is a vote for a measured leader who listens first, who understands the value of hearing different perspectives. Someone with a proven track record of leading with positivity, integrity, and compassion. Someone who brings a can-do attitude to find answers and build consensus to get things done. I'm running for our youth like my teenage nephews. I want to make sure they have opportunity to build successful futures here. To do that, we need to support growth that is going to create more good-paying jobs, retain talent, and encourage more economic investment. I'm running for families, seniors, young professionals, and small business owners. I want to ensure they can live, work, and do business here with confidence they won't be priced out by high taxes. I'm running for our first responders and other frontline municipal service workers. We need to make sure they're being given the tools, resources, and staff to do their jobs well. I'm running for community, our community, a community where we support the things that enrich our lives, the arts, sports, recreation, our service clubs. This is the Lethbridge I'm fighting for, and I hope you'll hire me on Monday. Thank you.
Those news anchor instincts kicked in just when the timer was getting down to the end. As a news anchor, you always have to be on time. All right, let's go to our next candidate is Jerry Seagan. Come on out, Jerry. Is that close on your pronunciation?
Yes,
yeah.
Perfect. Good evening. My candidacy for Lethbridge City Council is built on a lifelong foundation of community building and building cultural divides. Starting 35 years ago in Vancouver, BC, with pioneering efforts like the first Filipino comedy cooking show, Mr. Batchoy, I have consistently worked to uplift and integrate the Filipino spirit into the mainstream. This commitment continued right here in Lethbridge, culminating in the successful Fiesta Extravaganza last summer, which recently earned mainstream recognition as a key cultural event, proving my ability to foster shared experience and mutual respect across races and affiliations. But when we talk about a strong community, we must first ensure its safety. My biggest priority in this race will be to protect our residents, especially our youth, from the proliferation of deadly drugs. The rise of fentanyl and other harmful substances is not just a police issue. It's a direct threat to the future generation that I'm working hard to integrate. My time on council will be spent not only building cultural bridges or valuable progressive economic strategies that will boost our economy, but also building an impenetrable shield of protection for our children. Lethbridge needs a leader who can not only speak of unity, but demonstrate a proven track record of collaboration and action. I am Jerry Seagan. I'm ready to bring that bridge building experience and absolute commitment to public safety to City Council. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Maraming salamat. May God bless the great city of Lethbridge.
Thank you very much, Jerry Seagan. That takes us to the last of our currently sitting councillors. That is Jen Schmidt-Remple. Come on out, Jen.
Thank you, Stephen. Good evening, Oki, and welcome here. Thank you to the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce for hosting tonight's event. I'm Jen Schmidt-Remple, and I'm seeking re-election to Lethbridge City Council. Strong leadership begins with strong values, and mine are people, service, business, and community. These principles are outlined on my website, jenschmidtremple.ca, and they guide every decision I make. As a business owner, chamber member, and former member of the chamber board, I know how important predictable, responsive, and partnership-driven business environment is to our city's success. Over the past term, I've worked to reduce barriers to business, strengthen relationships with the business communities, and make it easier to invest in our city and grow business in Lethbridge. That includes co-sponsoring the long-term fiscal sustainability framework to ensure a framework of well-planned and responsible financial principles and practices that businesses and residents can rely on. I also believe that a healthy business climate depends on strong community foundations. These include housing, safety, and childcare. That's why I brought forward the childcare needs assessment motion, identifying a shortage of roughly 600 spaces in our city. Access to childcare isn't just a social issue, it's an economic issue that directly impacts workforce retention and business growth. Going forward, my priorities are clear. Continue making it faster and easier to do business in our city. Keep our city finances and services sustainable and predictable. Strengthen partnerships with the Chamber, Economic Development Lethbridge, and Tourism Lethbridge, and continue to build a city where people, families, and businesses can truly thrive together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen Schmidt-Remple. That takes us to our next council candidate. It is Mike Schmidler. Come on out, Mike.
A bit of a hand for Stephen. He seems to be the moderator of choice always in Lethbridge, and he always does a great job. So good evening. I've recently retired after a 39-year career. 29 years I was with Lafarge, and yes, that's where the concrete leadership comes from. For 23 years, I ran businesses for Lafarge. The last 15 years here in Lethbridge running the Southern Alberta business. Prior to that, I spent 10 years as a water and wastewater engineer. I'm a civil engineer by training. So my comments tonight are a little bit different than some of the ones you've heard, and it's really just a continuation of a conversation we started at the university on Saturday. And that had to do with what is council going to do to combat poverty? And I thought it was a really interesting discussion, and I wanted to carry it on here tonight. So a few alarming stats first. The federal government now spends more on interest on debt than it does on healthcare. Canada fell from a GDP per person equal to that of the US to lower than the poorest state in only the last 10 years. Debt to GDP in Canada is now the highest in the G7, and not long ago we had the lowest debt. So why am I telling you that? Why I'm saying that is, what did we get for all of that debt? Well, what we got was poverty. The poorest amongst us are the ones that suffer the most. Government creates $1 worth of poverty, then spends nickels trying to solve the problem that they created. So how does that relate to Lethbridge? You don't have to look far to see examples of municipalities doing a far better job creating wealth for their citizens. Coaldale, the county, actually every Southern Alberta municipality outcompetes Lethbridge to attract businesses. And that's important because we want to keep all those well-educated kids. We want them to stay here in Lethbridge and have good paying jobs right here in Lethbridge. They've even put up a sign on 43rd Street asking, why did the chicken cross the road? And it's for lower taxes. No one passes a city crew and says, now that looks efficient. That wasn't intended to get a laugh, but to be serious though, with employees making 30 or 40% more than they would in the private sector, and crews twice as big and taking twice as long, it shouldn't be hard to understand the problem. The private sector can do a lot of this work. In fact, the city already does it. They do a great job of contracting out sidewalk replacement. I'm very familiar with that contract. They can do more of it. I want to be clear, it's not about these hardworking individuals. I don't blame them for going to the highest paying employer. It's not their fault that they're in an inefficient system. That's the responsibility of council to direct the city manager. We don't have to cut services, we have to cut waste. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks very much, Mike Schmidler. I just hate being the time-heavy, having to sidle on up. Okay, we have two more candidates. The first of those is Suketu Shaw. Suketu, come on up.
Good evening, Oki, and namaste, everyone. To begin with, I would like to thank Chamber of Commerce to arrange such an amazing event, which gave me an opportunity to present myself in front of such an amazing audience. My name is Suketu Shah, and I'm running for Lethbridge City Council in 2025. I'm a husband, a father, a proud immigrant, a proud board of directors of our own Lethbridge Hurricanes, and a committed member of this community. I have built my career as a mortgage broker and insurance professional, helping families navigate challenges, plan for future, and make smart decisions. That same practical, solution-based approach is what I want to bring to Lethbridge City Hall. I'm running because every voice matters. Far too many residents feel unheard, and that cannot continue. I'll fight for transparency in city decisions, fiscal responsibilities in how your tax dollars are spent, and policies that grow our own local economy, protect our waterways, and build a safer, stronger Lethbridge for everyone. I believe in supporting families, local businesses investing in housing, infrastructure, and community services that actually make difference. I believe in planning for long-term, creating opportunities today that benefit our children and the next generation. I will listen to residents, work with all sides, and ensure your concerns are represented at the City Hall. Tonight, I ask for your support. I ask your vote for someone who will bring integrity, accountability, and common sense leadership to our council. I'm requesting for your support, asking for your vote. Once again, this is Suketu Shah for Lethbridge City Council, because every voice matters, and I'll make sure your voices matter too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Suketu Shah. That takes us to our last council candidate. It is Ryan Wolf. Ryan, come on up.
All right, so is everybody still awake? Hola, hola. So you have all heard all the solutions. This is great, so I'm just gonna leave because we got it sorted. You know, my name is Ryan Wolf. I'm a father of 2 daughters. My wife is Heather, she's a teacher. A big applause for the teachers in the room. You're going through it. You know, there's been some very important points made this evening that I think are very, very valuable. I think one thing that I've done differently that I will take this opportunity to kind of point out is when I decided to get back in the campaign this time, I thought, you know what, if you want to figure out what's going on, Ryan, you need to be where the decisions are being made. So out of all the folks who have come up here tonight and told you all the answers they have, I'm the only one who's actually attended a council meeting since July. The only one. You can ask any of the sitting candidates. I'm the only one that's been in the room. And why have I done that? Because that's where you see where great things happen, where some mistakes happen, I about fell out of my chair, and where you see how the community, how these personalities work together. And it's really actually quite inspiring to see how hard these folks work on our behalf. I did have a bit of an experience very, very quickly. You know, we do unfortunately need to get a lot of control over how we spend our money, because that's why you folks are feeling tax pain, is because we are inefficient with our money. The council was discussing how to train the new council. And their solution is to spend $9,000 to bring in a lawyer from Edmonton to train me, when our city-paid lawyer agreed in the room with one answer, yes, I can do it. She will be in the office when we're getting trained, but she won't participate. Instead, we're spending $9,000 on an Edmonton lawyer to come and do the training. And this is what they do. It cuts us with a million cuts. And so I promise you the money is there to be found by a respectful disruptor to get our community where we want to be, so we have the resources to help the people that need help. It doesn't matter, I'm bigger than him. He can't haul me off, I'm bigger, and I'm the last one. So, you know, my friends, we live in a fantastic community. I have been on the doorsteps. I was in the south side yesterday, and a lady asked me, Ryan, have you been to the market, London Road Market, to talk to those folks? They need help. The only candidate that's been there, it was actually kind of a coinkydink, but I found it telling. So my spiel is, as we end, Ryan Wolf, top of your list, bottom of the ballot. Thank you.
Let me just chase down that mic. Thanks, Ryan. All right, that is all of the council candidates that are running. All 18 of them were here. You heard from all of them what they intend to do, a little bit about themselves. Let's give them one more round of applause, please. In alphabetical order by surname, we have Quentin Carlson on the far. Yep, thank you. We then have Ryan Meny. No, sorry, no, Blaine Higgins, sorry. Apologies, Blaine. I do know my alphabetical. Then we have Ryan Meny. And last but not least, we have Michael Petrakis. We recognize that the campaign trail is demanding, and we sincerely thank each of you for making the time to be here and to share your ideas with the community. I'd also like to thank the members of our business leaders panel for being part of this debate and helping frame the questions and concerns that matter to Lethbridge residents. Now, this is a bit of a departure for the Chamber. In past years, the Chamber has usually had a panel of local media members providing questions. This year, though, as part of the Chamber's commitment to focusing on business and economic issues in this mayoral campaign, we're featuring this panel of business leaders to assist with questions for the candidates. So the panel is, and I will note that just like me, I think it's in their job description that they have to provide their services to the Chamber because they all have Chamber ties. So first on my left here is Charlene Scheffelmeyer. She's a lawyer with Davison Williams LLP, and she's the chair-elect of the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce, so she'll be the next chair. So. To her left is sitting Harry Gross of Lone Tree Inc. and a past chair of the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce. Harry, thank you for being here. Next, we have Tara Lennox with Select People Solutions and also a past chair of the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce. And then last, we have a person who's far more important than the chairs themselves. We have Kevin Farrell, who's been with the Chamber for a long, long time. He's the Communication and Policy Manager of the Lethbridge Chamber and does pretty much everything behind the scenes. So give it up for Kevin Farrell. Last in that line is our timekeeper, Sean Sear, and Sean now has a bell. So we were missing an audible signal before. We have that now, so yeah, should be good. All right. Finally, I want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of you, the audience. Your participation and interest in local issues are what keep our democracy strong. In that spirit, tonight is about listening, questioning, and engaging. So thank you for being here to do just that. I'm going to talk now about our format. So tonight what we're going to do is start with opening statements from the candidates. So each of the candidates will have up to 2 minutes to provide an opening statement. That will go in alphabetical order by surname. It will be in alphabetical order. I'll get that right this time. After that, we will get into a question period. So we're going to have a round of questions initially from our panel of business leaders over here on our left. After that, we're going to get into audience and panel questions. So the audience will have an opportunity to ask a question either by coming to one of the microphones that's right at the front of the aisles here, or doing a written question. So we have runners. I see one right up at the top there. They can give you a written form that you can write out a question. They'll collect that, and then we collate them in the back and ask some written questions as well. If you have mobility issues, if the stairs aren't good for you, please wave to one of our runners and we can make a microphone available to you if you have some mobility issues. So don't let that stop you from asking a question. When candidates get a question, they'll have 1 minute to respond to each question. Actually, I think we wanted to expand that to 90 seconds. So we'll go 90 seconds for a response to each of those questions. As the moderator, I may pose the occasional follow-up or clarification question as needed to keep the discussion balanced and on track. Audience members are only afforded the chance to do a follow-up if I decide that it's warranted or desirable. Audience members, please keep your questions brief. No more than 30 seconds for your introduction to the question and asking the question. If it goes longer than that, if your question starts to sound like a campaign speech, I'll politely remind you to get to the question. You may even hear the bell. Also, if your question is unreasonable or inflammatory, I may simply reject it and move on to a question that's a little more illuminating and useful of our time here. When you're asking a question, you need to direct it to a particular candidate. You can't say, whoever wants to answer this, please do. Direct it to a candidate. Each of the candidates has 2 rebuttal cards on the table in front of them, which they can use at any point during the question period to respond directly to another candidate's comments. Those rebuttals are limited to 1 minute for those. We had at our previous forum, we had 2 per question. We don't have that. It can be all, you can all get in if you want on a particular question, as long as you have a rebuttal card. There's only 2, so use them wisely. And then once we've gone through that question and answer period of about an hour, then we're going to have closing statements from the candidates. I believe we have 2 minutes for those closing statements as well. So we're here to learn what the candidates will promise and where they stand on issues, how they plan to lead our city, and we can do that in a civil, respectful, and focused fashion. If there's heckling or interruptions, we're not going to tolerate that stuff here tonight. We want every candidate to be heard and every question to receive a fair response. Politics can get lively. We've all seen it happen before, but tonight we're going to keep it professional, and we're going to do that with the level of courtesy that is distinctly Lethbridge. All right, with that, we're going to get to our opening statements. And so by last name, alphabetical, that's Quentin Carlson. Quentin, your 2 minutes for your opening statement, please.
Thank you. Okie, and good evening. I'm Quentin Carlson, and I'm running for mayor. Lethbridge is a city of incredible potential, but its strength is undermined when our community is divided and when too many of our neighbors are struggling. To build a secure and prosperous future, we need leadership that is focused, empathetic, and clear about our municipal priorities. My platform for mayor is built on 3 clear pillars: public trust, affordability and livability, and fostering a resilient local economy. First, public trust and accountability. We will build trust by implementing accessible hybrid town halls to make council decisions transparent. We will enhance public safety not just with the police, but with a co-responder model that partners police and crisis workers, ensuring our resources are deployed effectively and humanely. Second, affordability and livability. This means a compassionate approach to taxes. We must halt across-the-board increases and move toward effective collection that is fair, reducing the burden on those who are struggling while ensuring all others pay their fair share. Furthermore, we must revitalize and expand our Housing First strategy. Lethbridge pioneered this model, but its efficacy has waned due to lack of capacity. We will commit to scaling it up and securing the stable funding required to meet the current challenges of chronic homelessness. Third, fostering a resilient local economy. This means we will focus on the backbone of our community, local businesses. We will actively support growth through the establishment of a cooperative business development office, promoting a sustainable, community-owned economic model that keeps money right here in Lethbridge. I recognize the immense responsibility of this office. I offer you a fresh vision, driven by accountability, a passion for data-driven solutions, and a deep commitment to collaboration. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I commit to bringing together the community expertise and the new energy required to find them. I look forward to working collaboratively with the new council to achieve a better Lethbridge together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. Our second candidate is the incumbent, Blaine Higgin. Blaine, 2 minutes for your opening remarks.
Thank you. And if anybody can hold up their hands, who's winning? Oilers, Rangers? Is it? Last I saw was 1-0 Oilers. Nobody cares. Really? All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us here tonight. And thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for putting this on, as well as all of the volunteers here, and for all of you for being here this evening. My name is Blaine Higgin, and it's been my absolute honor to serve as your mayor over these past 4 years. So over the past 30 plus years, I've built businesses here, raised my family here, and like so many of you, invested my heart and soul into this community. When I first ran for office, I promised to bring common sense, fiscal responsibility, and teamwork to City Hall. I said I'd focus on practical solutions, not politics, and I believe I've stayed true to that. Over the past 4 years, we faced some real challenges: rising costs, community safety concerns, and the lasting impacts, of course, of the pandemic. But through it all, we've worked together to keep our city strong, stable, and moving forward. We've increased police resources where they needed most and supported initiatives that got officers out into the community. Building trust, preventing crime, and responding quickly when people need help. We've strengthened partnerships between police, social agencies, and health providers, because enforcement alone, we know, isn't the full answer. Compassion and connection to services definitely matter as well. We've also supported new approaches to address addiction and homelessness, including working closely with Indigenous partners, the province, and local organizations to ensure those struggling on our streets can access treatment, housing, and hope. As we look ahead, the next term will be about balance, continuing to make financial, responsible decisions while investing in the priorities that matter most: public safety, economic growth, and the well-being of our families, and that includes doctor recruitment. I'm proud of how we've come this far, but I know that there's still more work to do, and I'm asking for your support to continue building on the progress that we've made with integrity, transparency, and a steady hand at the table. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine Higgin. That takes us to Ryan Menny. Ryan, 2 minutes for your opening remarks, please.
Sorry, this helps me see you as well as get my message across. Good evening. It's been a while since I've been on this stage as a performer. I'm going to tell you, it was 1992 to be exact, the one-act theater festival. I still remember my first lines sitting right here, but more importantly, I remember the name of the show. When God comes for breakfast, you don't burn the toast. What does that mean? When God comes for breakfast, you don't burn the toast. It means When something is really important, you try harder. For the last 4 years, for the business community of Lethbridge, it's felt like our City Hall hasn't been trying hard enough. We've seen a piecemeal and uncoordinated approach to development. We're building thousands of new homes on the west side, but the number one complaint I've heard at the doors the last 5 months, I can't even buy a piece of lumber on my side of the river. Meanwhile, for our existing neighborhoods, a 96-unit development meant for downtown is shoehorned into the historic London Road area. And when a fifth-generation family business raises legitimate concerns about their survival, they're told, if you don't like it, just move. As one business owner told me directly, this council is okay if existing businesses die. That is not leadership. That is a failure of planning and a failure of respect. My commitment is to bring common sense and a business-first mindset back to City Hall. It means a predictable planning process. Investing in infrastructure, our entire city needs to thrive. And most of all, treating our local businesses as the valued partners you are. Success in the business community is crucial, and you deserve a mayor who understands that trying harder, not burning the toast, is the very definition of public service. My name's Ryan Menny, and I'm here to serve you as your next mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Menny. That takes us to, last but not least, Michael Petrakis. Michael, you have 2 minutes for opening remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, hello. Holy, holy. Here we go. So I just realized that the last time I was speaking right here was right around the same year as you. I was 11 years old, and I was performing here just 3 years after I arrived in the country. It's been a long time. And since then, I moved back to Greece, and I worked, well, I did my mandatory military service. I worked in entrepreneurship and family businesses for a decade in tourism and hospitality. And I'm wondering whether to go off script completely. Mike inspired me to tell a why did the chicken cross the road joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? To find out what killed the cat. Curiosity. So, without further ado, every crisis we face, housing, addiction, taxation, food insecurity, crime, it's not separate. They're one system breaking in different places. When everything breaks at once, it's not the people who failed, it's the architecture. We don't have bad citizens, we have broken civic design. And that's what I'm here to repair. Each councillor today represents 12,000 citizens. That isn't representation, that's overload, which is the same thing that's happening with our teachers facing growing classrooms. For $2 a month per person, we can triple representation, creating ward offices with fellows who listen and connect and make civic access normal again. Democracy heals not by shouting louder, but by being heard more often. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael Petrakis. Thanks to all the candidates for observing more or less the time limitations that we have. We're now going to get into our first round of questions, which is from our panel of business experts here. And first we have Charlene Scheffelmeyer. And Charlene, 30 seconds for the question or thereabouts, and make sure you direct it to one of the candidates.
All right, first question is for the incumbent, Mayor Higgin, which is, as I'm sure you know as a business owner yourself, businesses face rising costs every year, and we don't simply get to send bigger bills to our customers, nor do we have the ability to simply increase the revenue we have, though I'm sure we all wish that were an option. Instead, we have to innovate, create efficiencies, or rework how we operate. It seems that historically, instead of getting creative and tightening the belt, the city turns to tax increases. And in the face of rising costs, if you were re-elected mayor, what's one concrete example of how you'd avoid raising taxes and instead use the same creativity and discipline expected of every small and medium enterprise in Lethbridge so we can do more with less?
Thank you for the question. It should be a very quick response, and that is to bring more industry to the community. The more industry you have, that offsets the cost for everybody's taxation, especially in business. And business pays about 2.4 to 2.6 times what regular residential rates are. I know that I have practically a hole in the wall over at a current business that I own, and it's about $1,100 a month in taxes. Remember, I'm a taxpayer as well. To all of you that are business owners out there, I feel that because I experienced it as well. So the biggest thing is to invite additional industry into the community so that we can have a better tax base, a larger tax base, and again, a higher rate that is over regular residential. But the other question to that as well, and answer to a question, is we need to reduce as well the rate for businesses, because if you want to attract them, you need to have a reasonable rate. Nothing is free in in this world, and so reasonable is important. So that's something that I would advocate for.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine Higgin. I'll pause for a moment to see if anybody wants to rebut on that question. And if not, they're not flashing the cards, then we'll move to our next business panelist, which is Harry Gross. Harry, your question. Oh, sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
So there's infinite ways to decrease the taxation burden. Right now, families are taxed into scarcity while global corporations drive profits through loopholes wider than the Old Man River. We don't have a revenue problem, we have a circulation problem. Wealth leaks faster than we can earn it. The 7% fair tax charter that I'm proposing fixes that. One fair tax for everyone, households, small businesses, and multinationals alike. That single reform returns about $70 million to families and adds $160 million to the city's annual budget, funding renewal without raising taxes on anyone, but instead cutting taxes by half. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Petrakis. And then Ryan Meny also wants to respond on that question.
Thank you, and I'm going to use, I heard some of the councillors speaking of words where their meanings have gotten lost because we use them too much in this industry and they don't have meaning anymore. So I'm going to use two different words. One of them is communication. Something that is not happening enough in this community, especially when we're hurting. That's when we need to talk the most. And we need consistent back and forth communication between our businesses and your leaders that are representing you at City Hall. In times like this when we're hurting, when our taxes cumulatively have gone up 20% in the last 4 years, your businesses are impacted. There's the 4,000 plus job losses we've had in the community. You're hurt, you're impacted. So quarterly roundtables, I want to set those up. The other piece is engagement. It's truly listening, it's truly hearing from you and using your solutions to get us through this.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Meny. All right, I think that puts that question to rest, and then we'll move to Harry Gross for the next panel question.
Well, I'm going to continue on the tax cost issue for a little bit here, and there might be a little bit of an overlap, but I think there is a concern where the background is we had 5% increases last year, and I think it's projected to sustain that going forward. Plus, their education portion went up 13.8%. I think as we've alluded already, citizens, homeowners, and business think this is not sustainable. I know as a business person, I've seen my property taxes on rent, as a percentage of rents increase 30, 40% faster over the last 10 to 15 years than the rent itself. So property taxes are growing faster than the rent, not the same ratio, faster, and it's not sustainable. At the same time, businesses are looking for lower long-term costs, and the reality is more of our businesses are starting to look outside and to the east of Lethbridge for growth and development opportunities, not west. I think you can see the economic development head east. So Ryan, my question for you is, in partnership with the Chamber, how would you develop a multi-year tax framework that stabilizes and potentially reduces our tax costs, and at the same time attract investment and foster Lethbridge's role as Alberta's third largest and very attractive business center and community?
Great, thank you very much, Harry. Ryan Minnie, that question is for you.
So again, I wanted to never, I've got 2 terms of council experience. And I've been in communities that have been hurting, and I've been in communities that have completely lost a sector of our businesses, the forest industry. When it collapsed in 2008, we lost our sawmill, we lost our pulp mill. There was no bringing that industry back. And so I've been there in the worst of times. And Lethbridge is experiencing a time right now, it's just our size is masking it at this moment. So I appreciate your question. It's in these times of scarcity. It's, you know the phrase, necessity is the mother of invention. This is when we get creative. This is when we get collaborative. This is when we are engaging our business leaders in the community, the chamber, the people that are hurting. What is not working for you right now to be successful, beyond the world forces that we can't control? What industry do we need here that we don't have? What portion of your business model isn't working on behalf of this city? Is it the red tape? Is it the multitude of costs on top of that, the total operating costs, franchise fees on gas and electricity, and much more? We need just as much engagement with the business community as we need exciting plans and ideas of how to move the community forward. It's not just going to come from City Hall, it's going to come from true engagement with the business community.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Minnie. Anybody want to, Michael, that's your second rebuttal card. Okay, Michael Petrakis.
It's very true. Their opportunities are many, and necessity is the mother of innovation, no doubt. So we have so much to actually look forward to once the dialogue really starts. What I propose is a solutions portfolio for the community that we co-create together. And what I have shared on that portfolio so far is astounding in terms of what I've discovered myself. And that is that the unemployment cost burden, the 5% unemployment that we currently face, which is actually more to 10 to 15%, is costing Lethbridge $1 billion a year. That's $10,000 to $12,000 per person. And that's because unemployment leads to a cascading effects of addiction, cardiovascular disease, crimes, homelessness. It's all connected. And $1 billion is 1/6 of Lethbridge GDP. Highly recommend looking into that. The documents are on the website. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Petrakis. If there's not further rebuttals on that, then we're going to move to our third question from the panel, and that's Tara Lennox. Tara.
Perfect, thank you. This question is for Michael. As a business person in town, I hear businesses that are thinking about relocating out of the city limits. What would your plan be to retain these businesses?
The 7%, thank you for the question. The 7% fair tax model is the break that 99% of our community has been seeking, anticipating, because The general population and small businesses are the ones that have been facing the brunt of taxation, while multinational corporations who are working on a predatory, capitalistic, extractive model, they extract the profits from here, and then we are left with rebuilding the infrastructure which they use. So by creating a fair tax model, that means it's the break that the small businesses want that can come back in here, and it doubles down as the ultimate corporate social responsibility campaign, because any corporations that come in here to do business with us, who we choose to partner with, they have a little badge on their chest that says, we believe in fair tax and recirculating the wealth of your community within your community, which essentially uplifts the local economy. And that means everyone benefits. It just continues to circulate as long as we don't let it go out of the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Michael Petrakis. I don't think anybody else is, yep. Blaine, you want to get on that?
Thank you. It's something as a business owner that I've been trying to champion through City Council and to our administration is, why are we losing some of this business outside of our community? If it's not just into the county or further east. Trust me, I love to have businesses grow all over in these different areas, because it's important that we do have business within our region as well. But one of the things that I brought forward here, and it's about a year ago, and it just actually came to council here, the results here a few months ago, was a business retention and incentive program. So it was giving the city manager the opportunity to delve in a little bit deeper into different incentives for businesses to move here. But not just to move here, as businesses that are expanding, and I've talked to many of them that want to expand their business, and beyond just new businesses, it wasn't fair to offer that for new businesses coming to town and not to those that are expanding or local businesses that are wanting to double in size again and expand. So it's something that's important. We just got that out. It's only a few months old, and I'm hoping that something like that does support those businesses and attract more into our community. As before, we just had a flat rate, for example, for land. And we need to be a little more creative, but we don't want to. Thank you.
Oh, the bell works. All right. Okay, if there's no other rebuttals on that, then we'll move to the last of our initial round of questions from the panel, and that's Kevin Farrell with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, this question is for Quentin Carlson. Mr. Carlson, as a student at the University of Lethbridge yourself, you have a unique insight into the needs and wants of students. What do you believe the City of Lethbridge could do to increase the necessary student retention that we need to build our workforce?
One thing we can do is ensure that there is late-night public transit. Students often spend nights out late and have no way home afterwards. And our buses stopping at around midnight is completely unusable for a student who wants to come home at 2 a.m. We also need infrastructure designed to keep students here. What does that mean? That means avoiding the car-centric focus, ensuring we have bike paths, bike lanes that are designed and distributed across the city to get people where they need to go. We need bus routes that go to pick people up where they need to be and take them where they need to go. And we need youth-focused business incentives that let them set their roots here and stay here instead of having to look south, east, or west to find better paying jobs. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. Anybody want to rebut on that? Student retention? All right. If not, then that's the initial round of our questions from our business leaders panel. We now have the opportunity to hear from audience members. If you're interested in asking a question at the microphone, come on up to the microphone. Just a reminder, if you want to do a written question, you can do a written question. One of our runners, Jackie's standing right over there, will get you a form, and we'll pick it up afterwards, and we sort of collate those in the back, and then I get them on my little device here. So we'll go down to the front microphone to my right here. Make sure you address the question to a particular candidate, and 30 seconds for your asking the question, please.
I'm Bev Middle-Atherstone. As you know, we are in quite a dilemma with our public health care system, and about half the population of Lethbridge is currently without a family doctor or primary physician. So this question goes to Quentin Carlson. Quentin, I'd like to know what you would do. Other municipalities have done things to entice physicians to come to their community. What would you do to entice physicians to come to Lethbridge? Thank you.
That's a good question. I've actually been following what's going on in Colwood right now with their attempt to bring more doctors in, and that's removing the burden of running their clinic off the doctor. So the city essentially takes in that administrative role and ensures doctors are here to do that, practice medicine, and be doctors instead of being administrative staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the question from the audience. Just before I go back to the panel, I'm going to do one of our written questions. So this question is for Ryan Meny. Ryan, what are your ways to improve the transit system in Lethbridge? And the question is not specific as to public transit or other forms of transit infrastructure, so you take that however you want to take it.
I'm going to ask you to repeat the question.
Yeah. What are your ways to improve the transit system in Lethbridge?
Talking to the users. It truly is, and again, this is an issue that's come up in the 5 months, talking with people at the doors. And actually, it's a two-pronged approach. Talking with the users first. You're the folks using this system. Is it working for you? I'm hearing from a lot of people, no, it's not. Why is that? There may be a multitude of reasons, but from their perspective, it's not working. Accessibility, it's not working. Schedules, it's not working. So that's an issue that we need to address, and we need to talk to the direct users to know what does that model look like that works for you. The second piece is, we have a service that's being provided right now by some folks who were feeling unheard so much that they were willing to go out in the cold today and stand in front of City Hall tonight to be heard. It shouldn't have to be that way. We should be in constant communication with our service providers and hearing from them as well. Guess what? They're the frontline workers. They're the ones hearing those concerns with the people using their services each and every day. So those are our two key stakeholders, the service providers and the service users. We need to keep them part of the process continually.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Meny. No, Michael, I count to two pretty well, and I think you're at two. So, but I see Quentin is looking to play his first rebuttal card. Go ahead, Quentin.
So I do take the bus quite regularly. My car's in the shop right now, and I see it. I can't even take the bus to work without being there an hour early or an hour late. That's not a system that works for its users. It needs to come regularly. It's an issue of not having enough drivers and buses. We need to have regular, consistent routes. We need later service, and we need alternatives. We need things like effective bike lanes that don't take away from drivers' abilities to get around, but still provides that service. It allows, reduces the amount of cars on the road, reduces traffic across Whoop Up, and reduces the use of our transit system, allowing for it to actually be there on time, given what we have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. Okay, then I think we're going back to our media panel. Are we just cycling through, and then, so it's back to Charlene Scheffelmeyer. So Charlene.
Yes, this next question is for Ryan. As you may know, a number of years ago, the city hired KPMG to do an operational review, which among many things, KPMG recommended disposing of a number of city-owned properties. So my question to you is, if you had to choose one City of Lethbridge property or facility that the city should review first for repurpose or sale, which one would you pick and why?
Thanks for the question, and I don't want to jump into saying again what I think. There's too much focus on what does one individual think, and this is a community topic. This is a community issue. In the last few months, I can tell you on two hands the people who require a facility. There are ethnic groups that aren't being served properly at this point and want to find a home. We have the desire and the need for updating this facility in not this facility itself exactly, but providing more to this community and the performers and the musicians and our incredible talent that live here. Can that fit in an existing building? Probably not. So it's a bigger discussion. There are a lot of stakeholders out there that I've already heard from in the last couple of months who have a need for a home. And so I think this is one of the next big steps that we take as a community is where are the gaps? What are we missing? Who needs that home, and what assets do we have that can help with that?
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Manny. No one else weighing in on that issue. Then we'll go back to the audience. So we'll come down to this microphone right down here. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Barry, and this question is to Blaine. So do you agree that the City of Lethbridge should move to a zero-based budgeting process? Yes or no, and why? And so that we're on the same page, allow me to give you my definition of that. How it applies to business, and the City of Lethbridge is a business. In a business context, a zero-based budgeting requires each department to justify their entire budget, even for essential and historical costs. This process allows businesses to eliminate redundancy, redirect funds to high-impact activity, and align spending with their strategic plan, leading to improved financial efficiencies and control.
Thank you. Go ahead, Blaine. So zero-based budgeting?
Sorry, I thought you said go ahead, Mike.
No, Blaine.
Oh, okay.
Use the mic, but... Yeah.
All right, Mike, he's got... You need a mic? No, thank you very much for that question. As a business owner, there's a traditional-based or I guess need-based budgeting. Tough to do a zero-based budgeting in a city. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at the person that asked the question. I'm sorry, yes. And so, at my business, I do that. I kind of do more of a hybrid, to be quite honest with you, the traditional as well as the zero-based budgeting, because in order for me to purchase something, I want to make sure I have the funds in order to make that purchase, and there's going to be a revenue stream that's going to offset that cost. At the city, it's a little more difficult. Not saying we can't apply some of the rules, but there's many things each year that are constant. What's frustrating are the things that are not constant that can come over the wall and can cause those additional pressures and costs. So zero-based budgeting, a great idea. However, I'm not sure how a city could run full on a zero-based budgeting, seeing as we have a four-year budget cycle, unless that was be changed to yearly, because it's really a yearly is how we would do a zero-based budgeting. Many different ways. I think we should take a lot of the different elements of zero-based budgeting, but still be able to have a hybrid model, if you will, because it's of importance to make sure we know where our dollars are always going and things aren't coming over the wall. But thank you so much for that question.
All right, thank you very much. I'm not seeing other rebuttals on the zero-based budgeting issue, so we'll go back to our panel. So Harry Gross.
This question is for Michael. Michael, Lethbridge News Now this summer had an article that stated Lethbridge's operating costs for the city was approximately over $4,000 per person. It was the highest operating cost out of 10 cities studied in the province of Alberta. The range went from below $3,000 per person for Airdrie. In the middle was Calgary and Edmonton, about $3,100, $3,200 a person, and Lethbridge was over $4,000 a person. It's nice for all of us to want more services, but my question for you is, how do we bring our costs more in line to Calgary and Edmonton, and what would you change within the city of Lethbridge to have our operating cost per person close to Lethbridge or Edmonton or Calgary?
Thank you for the question. So let me try to pack in a lot in a little time. One of the greatest investments we can invest in Lethbridge is the actual design of our representative democracy. With just $1 per person per month, we can double our representative democracy, which means we can double the amount of ears and eyes that are exploring every issue that we have. In other words, our subcommittee of councillors could be a 13-council system across all social sectors so that we have experts in every field. Now, with the 7% tax, fair tax model, that increases our city's budget to $600 million a year from $440 million a year, while saving taxpayers, families, the 40,000 households in Lethbridge, over $70 million a year. And about the bus systems, I think we can figure it out. Free buses running as long as possible, twice as many buses, we can cover it. Because we're working smart in terms of standing up to what fair taxes actually are. Because if we're gaining $160 million in our city's budget, that's how much is being extracted from our city. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Michael. And then Ryan, you want to play your second rebuttal card on that? Go ahead.
Thank you, and this is a topic that gets me really excited, so hold me back. Thank you. I almost fell off the stage. This is where we have the success of this community right at our fingertips. It's right here. We have all the players. We have all the assets. It is the strategy that we collaborate and work together. We need a regional tourism strategy firing on all cylinders. We need a regional economic strategy working with our area partners. Their success is our success and vice versa. It's that economic activity. It is making Lethbridge the jewel of Alberta, the prime destination in Western Canada, by being on page and on brand and on the same targeted, with the same goals and aspirations that will bring in finances to take the burden off the taxpayer and make Lethbridge an even more exciting place to live.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Meny. All right, we'll go back to the audience. So we'll go to the microphone right here.
So my name's Chris Raleigh, and my question will be for Blaine Higgin. And so with the provincial government cutting disability, how are you going to advocate for change? Because with the cutting of AISH and forcing people to work when they can't, and taking more money, expecting them to work, that's going to cause more homelessness and more issues for the city that is not caused by the city, but caused by the provincial government. So how are you going to advocate for changes around that?
Well, thank you very much for that question, Chris. This is a provincial issue. I think the big concern is to sit down with yourself and sit down with other folks and be that spokesperson up in Edmonton. It's something that needs to be done. It's not a city issue, and I know you're saying that it is, but.
How is it not a city?
Well, it's causing more homelessness because of the funding that is removed from a provincial. So then we need to go back to the province to get that funding back. If not, it falls on the. Sorry.
What place does the city have then to? Because the city homelessness is a city issue.
The city.
Caused by a different level of government. I know it's not your responsibility.
Chris, you're going to run out of time here.
This is for us as city council and to advocate on behalf of those in the community for additional funding, if it's not provincial, federal. But I wish I could say that we're going to open the coffers at City Hall, but that's probably not. It's got to be advocacy work, sitting down, sharing the frustrations that you have and others with those that are decision makers at a provincial level. I'm sorry, I wish I would do more at a city level, but I understand your frustration.
Asking it at a city level as a representative of the city.
Advocation.
Advocacy work. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, that's kind of why we don't like to have the back and forth, because it kind of sucks up time. And we're down to about 20 minutes or so. And we want to get as many questions as we possibly can to the candidates. So with that, I think we're back to our media panel. So Tara Lennox.
Okay, I have a question for Quentin. What innovative zoning solutions would you support to tackling housing shortages?
Well, all these decisions I've promised to make or will make are data-backed. So it's anything that has shown evidence. Unfortunately, I don't have any on the top of my head right now as for direct solutions. But anything that has been proven to work and will work for Lethbridge. Sorry, I can't answer that better.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. We'll go back to our microphone. I think I'm over to this side. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lynn, and this question is for Blaine. Have you looked into the feasibility of any of the things Michael has presented, like the fair tax charter and the $1 billion unemployment cost burden? And I ask because it seems to clearly show how our community can finance the resolution of all our crises, no matter who gets elected. The fair tax charter makes available about $200 million a year to resolve addiction.
So that's the time for the question.
Okay.
Is the question
Thank you.
Whether he's looked at Michael's platform and how he treats it? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Blaine.
No, thank you very much for that question. And I think anybody who's had the opportunity to sit and meet Michael has probably got the biggest heart of anybody here in this whole room here. He's and a lot of the things I may not understand. I know he's explained a few different things. I've gone to his website and stuff, and we have the opportunity to chat. But I haven't looked at some of the things that you're talking about here directly, as I've just heard about him as of late. And we're on this campaign trail. That's not a lot of time to dig deep into some of them, high level, 20,000 foot level, to see some of the challenges and stuff that we face and some of the solutions that have been presented by Michael. But I have not dug really that deep into them. So sorry, I wish I could answer that question better, but Michael is going to definitely take me out for a burger and share more with me. So thank you.
Thank
I've just
you.
challenged you now for a burger.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine. I don't see Quentin raising his rebuttal card on that, so then we'll go back to our panel. So Kevin Farrell with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, this question is for Blaine Higgin. Mr. Higgin, Lethbridge is facing a housing shortage. In 2023, we missed out on access to the Housing Accelerator Fund, due in part to the requirement for zoning reform, which is something that we are still at this point a year plus away from completing. What suggestion would you make to remedy this in the future? And should the City of Lethbridge seek funding from other levels of government if they come with strings attached?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Yes, we do have an extreme housing shortage, and we had less than 0.5% here last year, and which made the cost for housing and for rentals to go through the roof. And so build more is what you need to do in order to bring some of those costs down. One thing that I'm committed that I will not do, and I'm sorry it's going to make probably many of you not very happy with me, but I'm just being honest and very transparent, is blanket zoning. I won't do that. You've seen some of the struggles that we've seen in Calgary with blanket zoning, just opening it up to anybody to be able to build secondary suites elsewhere. I won't do that. However, we are looking at the land use bylaw, and it's in a large discussion here now. It's going to be out hopefully later next year. I'd like it to be a little bit sooner. I know it's a very deep, it hasn't been looked at for decades, and so that's something we need to make sure the input from all of you, because as you noticed in Calgary, when this blanket zoning went through, a lot of folks came up after and said, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. Make sure you're part of the discussion, or you'll find out the result later, and you don't want to find out the result later. I know that it's really important to be part of that discussion for that land use bylaw. It's one of the biggest things that we can do within our community right now, is where's housing going to be put? We need to strategically put housing when we're developing land, and put different forms, styles of housing in those. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blaine, and thank you for that question. Okay, let us go back to the microphone. I think we're going to this side right here.
Thank you. My name's Josh. Actually, I came here hoping to ask a question of one of our council folks, hoping to be, and I'm a little disappointed that we can't ask them the question, so I'm going to have to rejig this a little bit. But a few years ago, someone who's applying for council wrote an article comparing some teenage boys from Lethbridge, including my son, to rapists, priests, and complicit nuns in residential schools. When the charges were later stayed due to lack of evidence, the paper didn't report it. They had covered every court date until then, but they chose silence when the truth came out, even when members of the community reached out pleading for them to correct the record. Those boys were harassed, threatened, and at least one nearly took his own life, all while the record stayed uncorrected. So my question is this, and I was going to ask a question about honesty, transparency, and accountability. Well, my question is this for Mr. Meny. Will you commit to create a youth advisory council to help young people be involved in decision-making in this city? If we look out behind us, where are the kids? Where are the young people?
All right, so we've got the question. Youth Advisory Council. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, and thank you for that question. And this is an example of us as a community needing to pay attention to what works somewhere else. And I was the council liaison for the Youth Advisory Commission in Campbell River. It existed. It was a great group of folks that helped advocate their needs in the community. They were a direct voice to council that I reported to the group. That's an example of, let's, as a community, look and what are we missing? Where is our need greatest? How are we serving the next generation? These decisions in the next 4 years impact our kids. We should be, as your leaders in City Hall, making them excited about the next 25 years. It's not about just taxes and how do we afford them now. It is broad-reaching. It's their future, and we need to be engaging them now in the process. So thank you for that reminder. And yes, Youth Advisory Council, item number 1.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to go to a written question here, and then we might have a chance for one or two more from the panel and from the microphones. This question is for Blaine. Blaine, assume for the purposes of this question that Lethbridge needs a third bridge. How is it going to get done? What are your proposals for doing this without visiting too much cost onto Lethbridge residents?
Wow, great question. I haven't heard anything about this over the campaign trail, I need to be honest with you. It's something actually 4 years ago on the campaign trail. It's something that I thought we do really need, and not just thought, we do need a third river crossing. We had 60% of the folks in a referendum had mentioned that they wanted to have a third river crossing. But the question was, would you like a third river crossing? It's like, would you like a bicycle? Yes. Would you want to pay for it? No. It's probably would have changed a lot. And so I've actually just had a poll that went out on my website here just a couple weeks ago, and it's up to just over 500 folks have replied to that, and 76% are against building a bridge right now if any part of it is covered by taxation. So I'm not talking the full amount, even any part of it. So I went back in my calendar and I looked over the past 4 years. I've been 18 discussions, of which over 9 were trips to Edmonton to discuss this exact thing, to try to get funding from the provincial government. The provincial government is not giving dollars to this bridge in the current way that it's been presented. It could be something that could be done as a ring road possibly later, or along that pathway, but there's just absolutely no way. And I'll tell you something, if we could have done it, this council would already have this bridge happening now. Trust me, it would have happened. There's been so many discussions. The cost of 20 to 30%.
Go right ahead.
The cost of 20 to 30% tax increase on what the current amount is now of 5.1. Nobody will sustain that. I look at it from a business point of view. I'm 2.6, 2.8 times what the regular residential tax rate is, and then I'm going to go up. So let's think for a moment that it's up 60, 70% my taxes. You're going to shut down businesses left, right, and center. You can't do it without having another provider of the dollars. And we have looked at everything even from a toll bridge. They said, well, why don't you do a toll bridge? And that's fine. Those folks that are building the toll bridge, it needs to be beneficial to them before they would do it. I've spoken with them, a group out of Vancouver. These conversations have happened time and time again. I brought 2 resolutions forward to council to be able to continue those conversations with the province. It can't happen on the backs of the taxpayers. Please understand that if somebody says they can do it and it not cost, it's a lie. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Blaine. We'll go back to our our business leaders panel. So Charlene Scheffelmeyer.
All right, I'm going to wear my economic development hat for a moment. Calgary and Rocky View County have developed a coordinated effort to offer large tracts of land, upwards of 300 acres, coupled with rail siding, aimed at large manufacturers and industry that may have previously looked here. However, we don't seem to have that same coordination with our closest partner, Lethbridge County. This question is directed at Blaine. Why hasn't the city pursued a resource and tax sharing arrangement with the county? And what is your strategy to compete with Calgary and Rocky View County's new development and attract investment to our region?
Thank you for the question. As mayor, you're the vice chair of the economic development organization, which is Economic Development Lethbridge. Right now, the Economic Development Lethbridge, and many of you are aware, and if not, is just under a current review. A lot of the things that are happening with that review are to answer a lot of these questions that were just inquired. Why are we not, for example, I believe we're working well with county, but if those questions are out there, those answers will come back with this review. It's an independent outside agency review that's going on with this organization right now. And that information is going to be back to us in most of it has come back now. I'm going to say if I'm in this, around that horseshoe, there's decisions to be made before March of next year when more information is coming back. So without having that information back, and having experts give us that advice, I wouldn't know how to exactly answer that right now. I know that we do work with our fellow county colleagues as well as the other communities that are around here, from Colehurst to Coaldale and others. And so I think we do a pretty good job. I know the provinces looks at it and states that, you know, you guys get along very well in the, in the southern Alberta. So it's something I want to continue pushing forward. But obviously we need to have those relationships, because many of the dollars that are spent in the county are or that are made in the county are spent within Lethbridge. So we do need to have those relationships. And I'm hoping this review is going to help us to know what we need to do to continue or what we need to do to expand on those services. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine. We've got about 5 minutes left, maybe a little bit more, so we'll try to get a couple more questions in. Quentin, just so you know, you've got about 5 minutes to play your rebuttal card. We'll go down to the microphone right here.
Yes, good evening. My name is Corrine. I live on the west side, and my taxes have gone up over $2,000 in the last 2 years. You say that there's a 5% increase in taxes. That's not absolutely correct. What's happening is that my property assessment is going up substantially every year. They're taking that 5% on the inflated assessment value, which is now putting it up to over 11% year after year. So it's not a 5%.
We need the question.
So my question is,
to whom?
When I appealed this to your administration, this question is for Ryan directly. When I appealed this to the administration, the assessment administration, I presented a whole market analysis to see where the differences were. I presented this in the appeal, and I asked what the formula was that they used to arise at the 11%, and not only the 11%, but the increased assessment value. Ryan, will you commit, if you were coming on as a mayor, to the transparency to every single person in this audience in terms of how our taxes are rising and what the formula that they use, which I was denied?
Thank you, and to distill what I know I'm hearing from you, because I've been hearing it for 5 months, it's the reason I started running for council first before I switched to the mayoral run. The path we're on is unsustainable. The model that we are following is broken. We cannot continue at this pace. We've actually hit that point. The community is telling me this. I was feeling it as our family of 5. It is unsustainable. So what is the model now? The model of success isn't from keeping those tax increases as low as we can and picking apart our services until they don't exist anymore. It's an unwinnable battle. We will have no city. We won't be able to live here anymore. It's finding those outside solutions and that growth and that collaboration. But for your question specifically of the transparency, it's a culture shift. City Hall serves you. Your council serves you.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Meny. Okay, we'll go back to our panel. Harry, you might get the last question, so make it good.
The last question?
Yeah, from the panel.
Okay. I'm going to start with a bit of a preamble here. It's for Blaine, but I'm sure you guys might want to do a rebuttal on it. As city management and as a council, you all have there's different priorities and pressures you get that you have to balance. In my opinion, often when you have too many focuses, can actually be very costly and ineffective. At the same time, I really believe that the businesses and the residents' goals are aligned about building a great city and a great place. In addition to that, one of the pressures we have and opportunities, as I think many of us know, is that Southern Alberta is becoming a premier food corridor, not only in Canada, but for the world. I have seen this and projected it probably 20 years ago, and I think we're just in the cusp of seeing it. I understand Lethbridge, based on the amount of money that's been put in through economic development, that you want to be a major player in this food corridor. At the same time, the city industrial land base to support future development is limited, if virtually or actually almost no capacity. At the same time, the bare land that we have is not aligned with future economic development for industrial land base or a food corridor that's headed to the east of here, not the west. the food corridor is based around our irrigation belt, and we are at the utmost west end of that. This food. So my question is, what is your vision for Lethbridge? How do we get our land base and all our priorities lined up together? And how can the Chamber help accomplish that with you?
Thank you for the question. That's a lot to unpack, but I'm going to try my hardest here to state what I first mentioned as my opening statement is, and actually one of the first questions, to be an expert, to listening to the experts. We need to make sure that we connect with those folks that are within the Chamber. Many of you are here tonight. A lot of focus that we have in order to keep taxation down, because it's something obviously as we expand this premier food corridor, it comes at a cost. But the return is much greater than the cost to put it out there. Separating the needs and the wants is something that we need to really follow on as well. Currently, I've heard tonight we need to increase transit a whole bunch. There's many different things that I've heard tonight that comes at a cost. And that cost needs to be burdened by everybody here. If we're trying to bring down taxes for businesses, we definitely need to make sure that we're on the right path as far as attracting those businesses. A little off topic here, but to provide the land that we need to have for these businesses to expand. I know that a lot of folks have said, why are you expanding west? And reason for expanding west, especially if you have anything that's with the premier food corridor, it's usually they have designated land and areas that is to the east side of the city. So we're seeing that expansion there. And I'm okay with developing southern Alberta because we do benefit from that. We do have, that investment comes to our community from those businesses. And so we need to prepare the land. We need to make sure that it's available when folks do want to purchase the land and build, that it's available to build on. Furthermore, just the last thing, I know Bell just went here, but stay in constant communication with the county and other businesses that are on the outside of the city, to how we can better serve them.
All right, thank you, Blaine. And you guys might have to connect afterwards to talk about that a little more. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. We'll do an audience question right down here at this microphone.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Elizabeth, and unfortunately, even at the end of the proceedings here, we've yet to acknowledge the fact that we're seated here on Treaty 7 land of the Blackfoot people. And I have a question for Michael. Thank you. I have a question for Michael. You can see out in the audience here that not a lot of folks are in my age demographic, and we've been hearing a lot about transparency and communication. And so my question to you is, how are you planning on being as transparent and accessible as possible to folks such as myself, and providing a line of communication so that we're the workers, right? We're the next up and coming generation here. How do you plan on making sure that that line of communication is open, and what is your plan for that?
Thank you very much. That's a great question. There is so much we can do, and the first thing that I could imagine doing is starting that conversation with the youth to hear everything that you've been hearing, thinking, designing, because you've been thinking about it more than everyone else or the youth that you represent. When I talk about the elephant in the room about our representative democracy being overburdened because each councillor is representing 12,000 people, if we think our teachers are overburdened, so with $1 per person per month, we can triple our representation. And that doesn't just mean creating a subcommittee of ward systems and fellows that attend to every single person's inquiries, insights, concerns, and then follow up with them. It also means creating a 13 council sector within every ward system so that we can inspire the people who are environmentalists, economists, business owners, artists, and they can each take on a role within those councils because they're passionate about those things. And so we inspire people to offer their gifts and skills and expertise. And so within that 13 council system, there's also a 5 council system. And that 5 council system is a wisdom council of youth, a wisdom council of women, a wisdom council of men, a wisdom council of elders, and a wisdom council of bridgers or two-spirited LGBTQ. So they deserve as much council time as we can imagine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. I was going to say use it or lose it, Quentin, but you're beating me to it, so go ahead.
So a lot of that is actually the core of why I'm running. There isn't a lot of accessibility to the younger generation, to a lot of people, not just the younger generation. So I would expand your ability to come to City Hall, not just the building, but to the meetings, through the hybrid town halls. So those are community locations. We're talking about the library, places that are easily accessible, so that you can have your voice heard, you can know what's going on, you don't just find out about it after, and it's accessible to everyone, whether you have disabilities, can't make it, can't drive, have no way there. There's also the online aspect, so that you can log in from home, you don't need to traverse the weather, no matter if it's cold or warm, to get there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. Okay, that brings us to the end of our question and answer period. As I say, the candidates will be around for a little while longer, and you can ask them further questions if they're still here. We're going to move into our closing remarks, so we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order. So 2 minutes per candidate, and we'll start with Michael Petrakis. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I wish we could do it more often. Regarding the bridge, quick rebuttal. We can fix the bridge issue using innovative technology that would cost us $10 million to pilot and $40 million as the full build. That means adjustable meridians so that we can have 5 lanes coming in the morning and 5 lanes going out at nighttime. And we could even fill the gap so we can have another lane, and that would be covered with $40 million. Highly recommend it. It can be done by next summer. In closing, before I close, I want to acknowledge something simple. There's been a lot of things said, and perhaps a lot of radical things said by me with very big numbers. And that's because the suffering is huge and the opportunity is always in equal and opposite proportion. When I say our community is hemorrhaging $1 billion a year because of the unemployment cost burden, I'm not kidding. And that's nationally $400 billion a year, and that's internationally $80 trillion with a T dollars a year that we're hemorrhaging because we're pretending that we can't afford to solve the issues directly when it's costing us 4 times more to manage them continually. The tax charter is also the elephant in the room because we are being extracted. They don't care about us. A lot of them, they would prefer to automate us. The last thing I want to say is that because I've said a lot of really large-scale things, I just want to ask everyone one question and turn the camera towards you. Are you ready? One question from your hearts, from your minds. Are you open to the possibility that what I'm saying could be true? And if so, would you like to see it verified? If your answer is yes, I invite you to just put your hand up and participate in this representative democracy process.
All right.
Take your time. We can give them a couple seconds.
No, we don't have that much time, Michael.
Oh, we have time for this. Are you open to the possibility that it could be true?
All right, Michael, your time's up, so we got to move along.
Thank you. I thought so. I appreciate
Thank you, Michael Petrakis. All right, we're moving then to Ryan Meny. 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this very important discussion tonight, and thank you for all your time being here. As we've been in here tonight, you've seen the city's transit workers just outside. demonstrating they were out there because they felt like they weren't heard. Frankly, they're not alone, and we've heard that a lot tonight. The feeling of being ignored is the same frustration that I hear every day from our business community. You're not just fighting a 20% cumulative tax hike, you're battling the total cost of doing business, from franchise fees to endless red tape. You're watching our city lose over 4,000 manufacturing jobs. You're seeing a city hall that lacks a coherent regional economic strategy. This is a symptom of a city that isn't in a good spot. It's a symptom of leadership that has failed to build partnerships with its own workforce, with its business community, and our regional neighbors. My commitment is to change that on day one. It starts with leadership that listens by creating a Mayor's Business Advisory Council to get your direct, unfiltered feedback. It's about leadership that acts by bringing a clear focus back to fiscal discipline so we can provide real tax relief. And finally, build the critical infrastructure that our entire economy depends on. It's about leadership that unifies by fostering a culture of respect and partnership within our city administration, because a healthy, effective city workforce is essential for delivering the services we all rely on. This election presents a clear choice. We can have 4 more years of the same division and dysfunction, or we can choose a fresh start. I believe that starts with the partnerships, not politics. My name's Ryan Meny, and let's begin our next great chapter together. I'm asking for your vote.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ryan Meny. That takes us to Blaine Higgin. 2 minutes for your closing remarks, Blaine.
Thank you. I don't think Lethbridge is dying. I think Lethbridge is an incredible community. It's because of all of the folks that are here. Thank you. Lethbridge is my home, and leading this city has been an absolute honor. And it's not just one person. You hear so often about who sits around that horseshoe. I know many of them are here tonight that are running for re-election, as well as a couple that are not running. We have a lot of debate. We have a lot of debate, and there's a lot of give and take that's around that horseshoe. But I want to tell you something. The respect has been nothing that I've ever seen over the years that I've served on council. We've got a great team, and we don't get up in the morning wondering, what we're going to do to make this city worse. We've heard some pretty damning things here tonight that we've really got to work on this crashing, booming, destroyed city of Lethbridge. We don't. We've got a great city. Can we work on some things and be better? Absolutely we can. And that's why I'm running. We're in the middle of some great things. And I want to continue that work. I want to continue that work over the next 4 years. Unfortunately, things with city and politics take a long time. And I get frustrated. I'm a business owner. I want to do something. I do it now. And you know what? I failed before in doing it. But what do? I do something again. But when we're working with everybody's tax dollars, things take longer, a lot longer than I want them to be. But folks, please understand, we've got an incredible city, and we can move it forward together. So with all of your support, please vote Higgin for mayor for another 4 years to bring what we need back to the city. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine Higgin. Last but not least, Quentin Carlson, 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thanks again to the Chamber of Commerce and everyone who took time out of their day to be here today. It's really meaningful. My vision is not one of harsh cuts, but of transparent use and compassionate, effective governance. The 3 pillars of my campaign are interconnected and mutually supportive. We will restore public trust and accountability by making our governance accessible through hybrid town halls and prioritizing citizen-centric solutions like the co-responder model. We will enhance affordability and livability by ensuring effective and fair tax collection, preventing our hardworking citizens from being drowned by their property tax bills. Crucially, we will save long-term costs and restore hope by revitalizing the capacity of our Housing First model. This is the evidence-based solution we know works when properly supported, and we will do the work to make it effective again. And we will secure our future by fostering a resilient local economy built on local ownership and stability. We'll use the Cooperative Business Development Office to turn local enterprises into long-term community assets, making Lethbridge a low-friction investment hub focused on local success. The choice is for a city that manages its money with transparency, treats its citizens with fairness, and is committed to long-term community strength. I am Quentin Carlson, and I ask for your vote for mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin. That will take us to the pretty much the end of our program. On behalf of the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to thank our candidates for a thoughtful and engaging discussion. You've each shown a great deal of respect for one another and for the process, and that's something that everyone here can appreciate. Let's give our candidates a round of applause, please. A big thank you to our panel of business experts here for your insight, for your participation, for focusing us on business and economic questions, which is really, of course, what the Chamber stands for. And I think it's a great first foray into that, and I thank you all for doing that. So Charlene Scheffelmeyer, Harry Gross, Tara Lennox, and Kevin Farrell. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Thank you to the Chamber team, so Cindy and Jackie and her team, including also Sean on the bell and on the timer. Thank you very much for organizing this. So let's give them a round of applause for that. Thanks so much to the Yates for hosting us. It's a great venue. It accommodates a great many people and lets us get a message out. So thanks to the Yates, and thanks to all of you for being here. If you weren't here, then we wouldn't really have a program for you. So thanks for being here. Make sure that your voice counts in the upcoming election. So get out and vote. Pleased to do it. Again, you can chat with candidates if they're still here afterwards, and we have the facility for a little bit, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for me.
I'm following suit of the last candidate for council. Today is my son's 23rd birthday.
Happy birthday.
How many do we have in the audience that are in their 20s? Okay. How many in your 30s? Okay, so we need to really do a good job of getting that next generation, because I have so much hope for my children in this community. I've raised my children in this community, and I love this community.
Are your kids here?
It's his birthday. So it's his birthday party. So he's watching it, actually, he's streaming it online. So, and he told me, he goes, Mom, I'm streamed in, I've got it going. So my whole point of that is democracy is so important. And today we had 18 council candidates come and speak. That is amazing. Every single person running came and spoke to us. We have all of our candidates who are running for mayor. Everyone came and spoke to us. I know you didn't all get an opportunity to ask your question, but there's going to be opportunity up in the back when you leave. If there's something you want to ask or someone you want to speak to, please take that opportunity, and please take the opportunity to vote. Last week, Kevin and I were in Toronto for the week for the Canadian Chamber of Commerce federal debates. And I want to tell you, our city is doing well. There are many things that aren't like we've heard, but we should be proud of Lethbridge, and we should be proud of Southern Alberta, because I am telling you, the stories that we've heard from across this country are sad. And this is the time to be a strong mid-size city. We need to be that model to show what we can do. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to thank Stephen so much, as always, for being a moderator. Thank you. And thank you for coming. I truly, truly appreciate your time. Take care.